Okay, so my name is Angelica Cartwright, and I decided to do kind of like a video blog or whatnot about relationships, like relationship goals, relationship troubles, basically reading females the game, letting them know, what to do, what not to do, all that good stuff. So, first I'm going to start by kind of like introducing myself and giving you guys like a backstory on my own relationships or how I grew up and all that good stuff. And you have to excuse me because I'm looking down because I literally like wrote an outline for this so I don't like miss anything that I wanted to include. So basically it's my backstory. And first I'd like to touch on the fact that when I was a child, I grew up pretty much a tomboy. Like I was not into girly things, no makeup, no nails. I rode bikes with my male cousins and was always around them, and I kind of shunned females because I was like, all they do is sit around and talk. And I was like, I want my life to be about action, not talk. So the female for feministic concept in general as a child, like I totally denounced it basically. Like literally I was such a tomboy that people would be like, oh, you have a handsome young boy there, ma'am, to my mom. So just to kind of give you, where I'm coming from. So that being said, I was predominantly around men as I was a child, in high school, all through growing up. Those were my mentors, men. I didn't really look up to women. So I kind of grew up with the mentality of a man. So when I got to the age where I started dating, like in high school, I didn't develop the feelings that a woman would probably develop. So for instance, like the first time I ever had sex, the first guy, most women would probably be in love with them, they want to stay with them forever, at least for that time or whatever. And with me, never happened. Like I remember literally, I did the do and I ran to the bathroom and I was like, yes, like I did it. Like I'm in the mirror, like celebrating. And I go back in the bedroom and he's still there. And I'm like, okay, like, do you need anything more? Like, I didn't understand the concept of, like, I don't know. I just didn't get it. And then, my first best friend was also my first experience, the first guy I ever slept with. He had a best friend, and his best friend was my close friend. And me and him actually ended up getting together. So like I had no concept of being in love because, I didn't equate emotion with sex. I put it like that. So it was easy for me to mess with a person and just move on, and you have no mystery to you. So, and I feel like that's the way men think. Like, they'll like be gushing over a girl, and then as soon as they let them have sex with them, it's like, okay, well, I found your hidden treasure, so off to the next. And that's exactly how I was. Like, I was no longer intrigued with the man after that, for the most part, unless we were, friends or something like that. So I met my husband and my ex-husband when I was 17. I met my ex-husband when I was in high school, at school, and I met my husband now because we did split ops. And we were both in the National Guard. So I met him at drill. So mind you, like I said, I met both of these guys at the same time. My husband now was always my best friend. We had been best friends for 11 years when we ended up getting together. But all throughout high school, the guy that I had met then, that was my high school sweetheart. We got married, we had kids, all that. So we did the whole 9 yards. Long story short, when I kind of started getting out like in the workforce and just kind of like seeing other opportunities, it became really hard for me to stay focused on him. And I knew that he was not my soulmate. And honestly, I can't even say why I stayed with him so long. We had the weirdest relationship ever. Like we both cheated like crazy to the point where it wasn't even really cheating in my book because we were very open about it. We were very respectful in the fact that I never had to worry about, is he going to come home at night or anything like that. I didn't have to worry about, is he going to leave me for somebody else, blah, blah. I never felt I never felt that worry. He never, like gave me that worry, like he was emotionally invested into somebody else. And to me, that was the biggest thing, because like I said, I didn't tie emotion to sex. So it didn't really hurt me for him to have sex with somebody else. So like I said, we just had the weirdest relationship ever. Everybody always said that, like, I don't understand you guys, but it works for you. We would have like a meeting of the souls, like maybe every 3 months or so, and we'd be like, yeah, I did this and I did that, and we would just go on with life. No biggie. We ended up getting married. The reason that I got married was because I thought it was the right thing to do, quote unquote. Now, I'm coming to the realization that a lot of people enter into their first marriage because it's the right thing to do. But the only thing about that is you really can't you can't do anything in your life. Well, you can't live your life based on what, quote unquote, is right, because that might not be right for you. So I was kind of moving more so on what's right in the timeline. We had kids together. I knew that my mom wanted me to marry him because of that reason, and I really wanted to please her at that time. She was dying. She had cancer, and yeah, I really wanted to please her. And honestly, I remember saying to myself, like it's probably messed up to say that out loud, but I was like, when and if she does pass, like, I'll appease her for now, but I knew that that's not something I want to stay in forever. That being said, no disrespect to my ex-husband or anything like that. Like, I would do anything for that man because I love him. I'm just not in love with him. I respect him. He's like, I wish my father was like him. He is just 1000% beautiful, perfect dad. But like I said, I just wasn't in love. And in 2000, okay, I met these guys, met both of them in 2000, I want to say 2003. 2003. Skip forward a bunch of years. My best friend, he was also in a relationship, and he had 2 kids also. And he was with his baby mama. So he called me one day and he asked me to marry him. He's in the military, and he's like, he's trying to like basically read me off all of the benefits of being married to him, like literally benefits. Like, you'll have health insurance. The kids will have health insurance. You get BAH, like basically trying to read me off on paper why marrying him would be a benefit for me, basically financially. And at that point, I was, in that phase where I'm like, I want to do the right thing, what I'm supposed to do. And I'm like, I have kids with this guy. So, I don't want to just, go and marry my best friend. Even though my best friend and I have been together basically through every relationship. He's been my backbone. What else was I about to say? I'm sorry, I'm losing my train of thought a little bit. Let me look down for a second. Yeah, so my husband now, he was in a relationship with his baby mama. He asked me to marry him. I declined because I was trying to do the right thing. And a few years later, because I wasn't married at the time, me and my best friend ended up getting married at around about the same time, like within the same year. And our kids are close in age. It's crazy. Like we have a lot of coinky-dinks when it comes to when it comes to coincidences. Like my birthday and his oldest daughter's birthday is the same month, close to the same day. His son and my daughter's birthday is close to the same day, and it's the same month in July. And their names sound a lot alike. So it's really weird because we didn't plan these things like that. It was crazy. And he even told me, anecdotally, he told me that when he came to my house and he saw I was pregnant, he was like, it broke my heart because that was supposed to be my child. And I'm like, how are you tripping on me? How is your heart broken when technically you got your baby mama pregnant 2 months before I ever got pregnant? Like, you have no right to be hurt or feel any negative way. But whatever. That's another story. Let me look down again. In 2013, well, to kind of tie these two things together, we both got married about the same time. We all had kids at about the same time, and we coincidentally, it didn't work out in the relationships that we were in for reasons not to be told in this post. But yeah, just not to be told in this post. We started dating in 2013, and he was in Cuba. I was in Dallas, Texas. And I called, well, no, I Facebooked him because he's in the military. He's Cuba. Like, you can't just call Cuba. So I Facebooked him, like, hey, you know, get at me, bro, blah, 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 I love you, blah, blah. So, like, within 10 minutes, I get a phone call from a weird number. Didn't really, like, put the two together until, like, you know, until I got on the phone. So he's like, hey, and I'm like, hey, what's up? And so we start talking or whatever, and we're talking like no time had passed between, like, the last time that we had talked. And long story short, I asked him if he wanted to be in a relationship because I finally felt that I was ready to be in a relationship. And the reason why I didn't, like, get with him when we were in high school was because I knew myself. Like, I knew that I was not going to be faithful to anybody. Wasn't going to be faithful. I had a lot of wild oats to sow, and I didn't want to hurt my best friend like that because I really and honestly deeply cared about his feelings. And I knew that me conducting myself in that way, that would really hurt him. And so I just kind of dealt with people that were, and I hate to say it like this, but disposable in my eyes. Not that they're worthless as human beings, but they were disposable in my eyes. I wasn't too invested in them. Hopefully they weren't too invested in me because I knew my intentions, and my intentions were totally just not good. Excuse this bagel on my head, but that's another post too. Anyway, yeah, like I said, we got together in 2013. He came back about 5 months after we started talking. We literally talked for literally every fucking day. We talked every day during his deployment. After it was February 23rd of 2013, the day that I asked him to be with me. And mind you, like, he asked me to marry him when we were in high school. He asked me to marry him when he was with his baby mama. And, you know, I just never took it seriously. And like I said, I didn't want to hurt him or anything like that. So, 2013, we start talking. He comes back 5 months later. We have, like, the most explosive nights and days in Dallas. And, of course, he's stationed somewhere else. He was stationed in Fort Polk, Louisiana. So, of course, he had to come back after leave, and he called me one night. He's like, hey, why don't you just come move with me? Because the initial plan was for me to come move with him. So he was like, yeah, love, why don't you come move with me? And I never even thought about it because I didn't want to go back to Louisiana from Dallas. Like, Dallas is so much bigger. I was in freaking Dallas, Texas. You know, who wants to come to bumpkin fucking Leesville? Whatever. So I never even thought about it. The initial plan was for him to try to move out there. So he calls me one night. He's like, hey, you know, why don't you move here? And I was like, hey, you know what? That might not be a bad idea because I will be sick missing him. Like, I'm very social, but when it comes to my personal life, I'm totally antisocial. Like, I will talk to a person. I can meet a person and make them feel like they're my best friend because of our conversation. But I'm a very open person. And the thing is, like, there are many things that I don't discuss with anybody other than my fave five, basically, you know. But like I said, I'm very open. I'm losing my train of thought a little bit. Let me look down at my notes real quick. Yeah, long story short, I ended up moving to it was actually Alexandria. He was stationed in Leesville, and he was living in Alexandria. I came, he got me one night from freaking Dallas. We go to the movies. We get all my stuff out of the house. I really didn't have any furniture or anything in there at the time, so all I really had left was my clothes. So he came in, got my clothes real quick. After the movies, we shot out. We ended up coming and we stayed in a hotel and, you know, did hotel type things. We lived together for, well, it's 2016 now, so we've been together 3 years. We got married December 9th of 2015. He divorced December 7th, 2015. And I'll touch on that a little bit because I definitely need to elaborate. I don't want it to seem like, like he left his wife for me, blah, blah, blah. But initially he married his wife because I said no. So she was like a horrid cheater. She would like post things on Facebook like with other men while he was in freaking Iraq in the middle of wartime. Yeah, this is what she was doing. If you know anything about the military, you make a shit ton of money when you're gone, and he came back to literally one paycheck. So both times. And I'm like, who spends this much money and has zero to show for it? Not even a car, like no nothing, not even a new damn wardrobe. This is how like frivolous this woman of God's spending was. So they had been separated, but they were still legally married. And then we got together, we stayed together, and it was time to get the divorce. Long story short, she's like, she drags it on to the point where we actually have to go to court over it. Mind you, he's off in Afghanistan right now, so it was I that had to go to court and testify and say that, in fact, because she was saying that they still live together, they were together, all this stuff, and I'm like, try no, because he comes home to me every night, like after work, like there's no time in between, there's no weekends off doing this, like we do everything together. That's my best friend. So yeah, of course I came with all types of evidence, both of our driver's license, W-2s, registration, the lease, over 100 things of mail. Like it was just bonkers how much I had to show. And of course she got caught in all types of lies, blah, blah, blah. And the judge granted his divorce and we were able to get married 2 days later via proxy. And it is definitely the best relationship today. Definitely the best relationship today. So I'm going to touch on another subtopic. It is the game basically. So like psychology in and of itself is very relevant in relationships. People don't understand that okay, say you get mad at somebody for their actions, but what you don't realize is that you have all the power because their action is actually a reaction based off of your initial action. And if you think about it that way, it gives you so much empowerment because you're not just at effect. You see what I'm saying? Like you're the cause. And when you're the cause, you know what to do to remedy the problem. Relationships have always been like a game of chess. And there's usually a winner, a loser, and there's rarely a checkmate. So I've always looked at relationships like that. Like it's a game that should be won. And that probably, most people would say that that's not healthy. But it depends on what kind of relationship you want. It depends on what kind of person you want. It depends on who you are. And I was very successful when I wanted to be with a person or I wanted a certain thing or whatever. For example, like many females will beg a man to love them or not leave them, and in doing so, that devalues their worth in the man's eyes because he figures if I can get her to want me so badly and I used to want her oh so much and she was out of my league, then what other bad bees can I get to want me now? So basically like curiosity it'll strike their curiosity and it lowers your stock, and what you lowered in your stock, you've also raised in his confidence. Big time, no. That's what you don't do. There are many women that will strike a man's interest for a season, but very few that can keep him for a lifetime. and I know I'm kind of skipping subjects a little bit by jumping on the game and then getting on pretty much marital stuff, but bear with me. I do believe that it will all come together in the end. I'm going to give you the types of women not to be. The stalker, first of all. The clinger, the hoe, and the baby mama. Now, let me touch base on the stalker. With the stalker, even though the relationship is ended, you're checking his Facebook, you're worried about who he's with, what he's doing, who he's talking to, is his life striving or not? If he posts anything like had a hard day today or anything negative, you're like, yeah, you deserve that, you know, you had that coming, blah blah blah. Then usually this type of woman is going to post like vague posts on her Facebook, you know, about him, about his new relationship, about his new girl, blah, blah, blah. And females, for some reason, have a bad habit of doing that, and they don't understand. Me, I have experience. Like, I had a lot of male friends, and what they do when they see little dumbass posts like that, they read straight through it, and they're laughing at you because they're like, okay, you're basically worrying yourself by twiddling your fingers oh so very hard to say that I'm not worried about this guy. But that's a lot of worry to think of something to say, oh yeah, this is what I should post, and then post it for likes. Like, basically you're trying to communicate with him in a indirect way, and it never works. It just shows how thirsty and desperate you are. The clinger is next. The clinger is somebody when is in a relationship, they are all in the guy's face. They're always calling, always texting, always checking up on him, etc., etc. I think you kind of know where I'm going with this. That's not good either, because a man's instinct is to chase. And if you don't give chase, somebody's going to have to be the chaser, somebody's going to have to be the runner. I'll put it like that. So if you're not giving chase, then you're going to end up running after him. Because as I said, there's always going to be a runner. Like, that's straight up psychology. There's always going to be a runner. And as a woman, your femininity does not call for you to chase a man. You're the prize. And if you do not act like the prize, if you don't present yourself as the prize, if you don't wrap yourself up like the prize, it doesn't matter how much value you actually have. It's all in perception. So, the hoe, pretty much know where that's going. The lady that just doesn't give a F, like, you know, she's loyal to whoever is in her face. And in doing this, I think that women do that to establish a connection with somebody because they may be feeling a little neglected at home. They want that attention, or they want to be validated. And a lot of people in relationships do want validation. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, that is one of the reasons I'm in a relationship. Yeah, hell yeah, I want to be fucking validated. Like, whoever says they don't is fucking lying. I'm sorry. But when you do that, when you conduct yourself as such, you're bringing down your stock, your man's stock, and the man that you're usually cheating with is not like, oh yeah, she's such a virtuous woman, I love her so much, blah, blah, blah. When he's with his homeboys, he's talking about you, he's talking about your man, he's talking about your relationship and how stupid you are. You see what I'm saying? And how stupid your man is for loving you, being a hoe. So, that's just not the way to go. I don't really know how far I can elaborate on that to let you know that, but that is what that is. All right. Then fourth of all, the baby mama. So, I mean, at least half, probably women of childbearing age in the Western culture, have a baby daddy or have you know, children with someone that they're not with and weren't married to. But I'm talking about the baby mama mentality, not just fact, black and white baby mama. Like I said, I'm technically a baby mama, I guess. But yeah, I'm talking about the baby mama mentality, wherein basically you're a leech. You're a 100% a liability. There's nothing that you bring to the table. And my thing is, if you, just because you're a baby mama and it didn't work out, whatever, that does not mean that you have to wish that man bad. It just means that that was not who you were meant to be with. That being said, if you love that person, you should be willing to let them go and hope that they find happiness, hope that they find love, and not be bitter about it. Because the thing is, if that person's not meant for you, they're not meant for you. So why should they have to suffer for the rest of their lives in solitude because you and them weren't equally yoked? Like, that's unfair. That's not love. Like, total hate. The baby mama mentality is the type of woman that files for child support out of spite, not of necessity. Because there are a lot of men that pay more than what would be awarded to her in court in child support, but they'll still go and try to file for child support just to be a nuisance. And it's like, basically, you hurt me, so I want to make you feel that hurt. And there's no way that you can make a person that does not give a damn hurt. Like, it doesn't work like that. Like, you need to give up that battle even before you start it. And that's petty. That's really petty too, to like wish somebody the same pain that they gave to you, when a lot of times they weren't meaning to hurt you anyway. It's just that they had to do what was right for them, and you can't fault a person for doing what's right for them. I do say that people should definitely like take more time out before having kids, and that's a mistake that I made. Also, they should take more time out before having kids to kind of, you know, get to know each other, live together. Like, I would not marry a person that I'd never lived with, because in living with the person, like, when you see a person a couple hours a day, even if it's every day, they can put on that mask. Just like a woman puts on her makeup to go out, she can put on that mask, or he can put on that mask when they're with you, and then come home to the real. You see what I'm saying? But 9 times out of 10, if you live with a person, oh, that real is going to seep out. No, it's not going to seep out. It's going to pour out. And my thing is, if you can live with somebody and your relationship is good, y'all are solid. And I say it takes, on average, I wouldn't wait more than 3 years to get married in a relationship. And I wouldn't say that I know that person sooner than a year. Because, you know, during that, the first few months, you're in the infatuation stage, you're feeling good, like there can do no wrong, this is your man, that's your girl, blah-de-blah-de-blah. But when it gets to the real, the everyday, paying bills together, saving together, building credit together, coming home to the same person every day. That's the true test. Also, touching on the baby mama mentality, any man of caliber is not going to mess with this woman if she has this mentality, because even though he's not the baby daddy, he still sees the caliber of woman she is. That she's spiteful, that she's vindictive, that she's petty, she's hateful. Those are not wanted or highly coveted attributes in a woman. And the thing is, you can't compartmentalize a person like, oh, well, they're that way to this person because blah 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 blah. They can have every reason to be, they can have every reason in the book to be, but nobody controls you. Nobody can make you be this type of person towards them. So that being said, that should go as a red flag. My husband says a red flag. and let you know a few things. And there's a lot of times most people, they look over the red flags at the beginning of a relationship. I know I've done that myself. Look over the red flags in a relationship in the beginning. And it's like, if you would have gone back, if I could have gone back and been like, hold on, this is a red flag, let me make my exodus, I would probably be a whole lot better off. You know what I'm saying? Because those red flags become red seas when you really get to know that person. Because if you think about it, when you first meet a person, they're on their best behavior. They want to make their absolute best impression on you, you know? So if you're getting thrown red flags in the beginning, you pretty much know where it's going in time. Down fucking hill. Okay, the wanted woman. This is my next topic. The wanted woman. The wanted woman. The wanted woman. I'm going to tell you the attributes of a wanted woman. And like I said, this is more so towards marriage, not more so towards the game. I'll elaborate a little bit more about the game and how to play it in another video. Because these are definitely not word for word. These are definitely not things that you want to be if you're playing the game. Okay, the wanted woman is soft. And by soft, I mean she's soft-spoken. She's not a hard ass. She doesn't have that tomboy, you know, little swag to her or mentality, or the independent woman. There is no independent woman, and that was created by feminists. And I believe feminists were their underlying reason for saying the things that they said was to break up the home. Because if you have this woman that all of a sudden feels like she doesn't need a man and she can do it by herself, at that point, you know, the man's not gonna stick around for that. Men need to feel needed. And on top of that, there are certain roles. Like, I don't have a problem cooking, cleaning, picking up after him, submitting to him. Like, there are roles. One not being more important than the other. Both are needed. So as I say, you have to be soft. You know what I'm saying? Soft spoken, caring. You have to, you know, make your husband or your man feel invited, you know, like invited to your heart, invited to your love. And that leads me into the second one, loving. And they you know, correlate. They definitely do correlate. Being soft and being loving. Like I said, you want to make your man feel that he is welcome into your heart, that you're open to him. The wanted woman stands up for herself. And this being said, a lot of people, most people, and again, I want to touch on psychology, because most people are like, the better you treat them, the worse they act. Like, almost textbook, this is how people are. They'll beg you to treat them right, and then when you do treat them right, they start acting like an ass. So the wanted woman stands up for herself, because there are many women that'll let a man walk all over them, cheat on them, come home anytime, day or night, talk to them in any kind of manner. They don't command respect. And if you don't command respect, you will not, I repeat, will not get respect. That's one of the what is it called? One of the learning curves that I had in my relationship with my husband now, before we got married. And a lot of women will think that not standing up for herself, she's going to keep that man, but she's bringing down her stock. Once again, you're bringing down your stock if you don't stand up for yourself. Because you ever notice that when you stand up for yourself, one good time, a lot of times it takes one good time, it's like it elicits a level of respect. And that's in any relationship, even in you know, boss employee, any relationship. Show that you respect yourself and you will be respected. Has an open heart, that's kind of dealing with loving and being soft. So think we kind of already touched on that. Is fun loving. Like, a man wants to be able to have fun with his girl, you know, like a man doesn't want to want to have to go out with his boys in order to have fun, or want to sneak out in order to have fun. And a lot of the reason men do that is because their woman is not fun loving. It's not fun to be around her. And then like a lot of ladies will get mad like when they want to go out, or when they do this and when they do that for fun. And it's like, well, ma'am, you can't force a person's feelings, but you damn sure can change them, because you're not at effect. You are the cause. That being said, you need to be more fun loving. If you feel like, you know, if you notice that your man needs to go somewhere else or be with somebody else in order to have fun, you need to change that. That's a problem that you have all the control over. But jumping on him, talking to him, you know, crazy, or demanding that he stay with you in the house, no, that is not how you're going to get it. Because once again, psychology comes up. If you tell a person that they can't have this, they're going to want this all the more. So you have to change your action, not just speaking what you want. Easygoing. A lot of women I notice, they're really high strung, really judgmental of a man's actions, and the thing is, if you have a good man anyway, he's trying his damnedest to please you. He's trying his damnedest to please you. And this is something, you know, that I learned the hard way, or whatever. If you have a good man, he's trying his best to please you, and you should not beat him down in his effort, because even though he's not being perfect, because he's human and you're not perfect either, even though he's not perfect, for a man to put in honest effort is not an everyday thing, and it should not be taken lightly. And if you beat a man down for putting in effort, what does that make him want to do? Not give a damn. And then you're going to have a problem when he doesn't give a damn, that you're going to want to talk him out of. But you can't talk a person out of a feeling. You can't talk a person down. You have to do in action so that he has that reaction. You see what I'm saying? Submissive. Problem with a lot of females these days. Like, they think they know it all. Their way is the best way. Their perspective is the only right perspective. Blah, 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 blah. For instance, when me and my husband have a disagreement, we do not have arguments, because I don't raise my voice and I don't go back and forth with him out of respect. When we have disagreements, I am quick to apologize if that is in order. If it's not in order, I don't give a damn. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to be soft towards him. I'm not going to be combative. If he has a problem with something that I did, something that I said, what have you, I'm going to hear him out, because my goal is not to be right. My goal is to understand where he's coming from. And a lot of times arguments are started because a person's trying to communicate with you and let you know where they're coming from, and you're being combative and trying to convince them otherwise, and they clash. And that gets neither one of you anywhere. And then again, when that man wants to leave, when he's fed up, etc., etc., you're mad, you're crying, he's a bad man, blah, 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 blah. Like, no, that's not how it goes. Because you can nip these things in the bud before they ever become a problem in your relationship. Like I said, my husband and I, we do not argue. If we have a disagreement, I'm like, okay, babe, I want to further understand what you're meaning by what you're saying. So can you break it down? Can you elaborate a little bit more to me? And at first he thought that I was being facetious, like, you know, like I'm just being fake as hell, like, you know. I'm like, no, babe, like, I am not easily angered. Especially, like I say, if you're putting in effort, I'm not easily angered. Like, I'm very conducive to getting along. And so I'm like, hey, you know, if you have a problem with something I did, something I said, you let me know, sweetheart. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna work on this together. And I apologize, but please break it down to me so I can do better. I'll ask him like a progress report. I'm like, babe, you know, are you happy? Like, is there anything that I'm not doing that you feel that I need to do? Is it something that I'm not doing that would make you happy if I did do? Is there something that I'm doing that you would like me to do differently? Is there something that I am doing that you would like me not to do? Like, I'm going to ask, because that opens a person up to you know, critique you and stuff like that. And a lot of times a man will tell you, what it is that you need to change, or that he feels that you need to change. I'm not saying that you're always wrong. He's going to tell you. He's going to let you know. And a lot of females don't understand that until he walks out the door. And like I said, all of a sudden he's the bad guy and he did you wrong, blah, blah, blah. No, he told you what you need to fix. And I guarantee you that man gave you time and you neglected to do that or negated to do that. Patient. Everybody needs patience. Say he's having a bad day. A lot of females would overreact and think that it's about the relationship. Everything is not about the relationship. And if a man has a bad day or hard day, something crazy happened, he doesn't want to come home and then have to fight with you because he's feeling a certain way and you feel a certain way about him feeling a certain way. Like, no. That will make that man not want to come home. Go to the bar instead. Go to the next woman's house instead. If he feels that when he comes home, it's going to be an oasis wherein he can grow, wherein he can thrive, wherein he is nurtured. You know, like that's going to be somewhere that he wants to come. And you cannot make a person want something, but you can damn sure change what you're doing to make him feel a different way. So that being said, you can't talk a person into wanting to come home. You can't talk a person into staying with you. You can't talk a person into loving you. But you can do certain things to make them feel a certain way. Be cognizant of his needs. Cognizant of his needs. For instance, say you don't feel like cooking that night, or say you know that you're going to get home late. Say you didn't thaw out the meat already, and you know common sense is going to tell you that the man is going to get hungry. The man came home from a long day if you have a good one. So what I would do, for example, if I know that I didn't thaw out the meat or whatever, I want to make sure that I get him something, of sustenance. I'm not going to go and get a McDonald's or something like that. I'm going to go get my man something of sustenance to fill his stomach up. He's not going to have to pay for his dinner. If I didn't cook it, I'm going to pay for it and I'm going to go get it for him. You see what I'm saying? Just kind of like anticipating a person's wants and a person's need, like that goes so far. That goes so far. And my husband is like that. He anticipates my needs. For instance, I didn't notice until a couple, like 2 days ago, that whenever we get paid, we both put a few thousand into our savings account, into our joint savings account. And what he always does is he'll save an extra $100 or $200 for me in his checking account in case I need it before we get paid again. And if I do need it, I've never had that man complain, never heard a scoff or nothing. What you need it for, I've never heard that. Anytime I've ever needed money or anything, it's okay, baby, I got you. Within less than 5 minutes, I say the last time I asked for money, within the same 2 minutes, he was like, no problem, babe. The money's in your account now. Switched it over just like that. And he, told me that he always keeps an extra $100 to $200 in case I need it in his checking account, because he knows that I'm very aggressive about savings and I'm going to try to save everything. And I'm probably going to end up needing that 100 or 2, before I get paid again. But it's like I said, he anticipates my need. And a man is not going to anticipate, he's not going to give a damn about your needs if you're not anticipating his need, if you're not fulfilling his need. And a lot of women complain saying that they don't have a good man, or he's messing up here, he's messing up there. But you have to look at the root of the problem, and the root is you, because the woman is the tree of life in the household. You see what I'm saying? So you need to check your roots. A woman that is respectful, I want to touch on next. A woman that is respectful of his needs. A woman that is respectful in front of as well as behind a man's back. A lot of women will be so respectful in your face, and then as soon as you turn your back, they're talking to somebody else. And once again, I already said it, but it's going to bring down your stock. It's going to bring down your man's stock. It's going to bring down your stock as a couple. And that other man that you're talking to is not talking you up, boo-boo. He's talking you down and and saying, why is this man so in love with her? And there's so many songs wherein that's stated. The girl of your dreams is in my bed, or the girl of your dreams is my second choice, whatever, You don't want to put yourself or your man in that predicament. You do not, repeat, don't want people laughing at you, you know? Gives a man his peace when it's time to. Sometimes, you know, a person wants to be to themselves. Sometimes they don't want to fight. They don't want to fuss. They don't want to argue. Pretty Ricky, you know? They don't want to do those things. And you should be respectful of that. Respectful of that peace. You want to be a man's peace. Because if you're not, he's going to find peace somewhere else. And you can't be mad. Is financially responsible. A man wants a woman that's financially responsible, not a woman that's going to be frivolous and squander her money. And a lot of women don't work and they'll squander his money because he makes good money. And you feel that because he makes good money, we make good money and we can spend good money. But no, in my opinion, when you get a paycheck, that is money for hours of your life that you sacrificed. And when you think about it in that way, that money means a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? And for a woman not only to not contribute to the money, but to take from the money, and 3, frivolously at that, not for essentials. That's one of the worst women. That's one of the worst women that you can have, absent being a millionaire. Because, in my opinion, one of the main objectives of being in a relationship is to grow. And if you think about it this way, when you have a 2-income household, everything is a 50% off sale. Rent is 50% off. So if your rent is $800, bam, it's now knocked down to $400. Wow. If your car note is $400, bam, it's now knocked down to $200. Okay. And it's very effective when you have a 2-income household, because say that man is making $8,000 a month. You think, oh, that's really good. Let me sit home. But the productive woman is going to think, oh, that's really good. Let me match that. So instead of this 8 that you were bringing home and we were comfortable, let's bring home this 16, put that other 8 in the bank and save that up and make that build for our nest egg, for investments, for real estate, for what have you. So a woman that's going to build, you know what I'm saying? Is his support system that comes in with being his peace, with being open. You want your man to know that he can come to you, that you're not going to judge him, that you're not going to talk smack, that you're not going to nag him. You're not going to tell him I told you so. Like you want that man to be able to come to you in his time of need and know that you're going to accept him with open arms and not be judgmental. Is open to doing new things. I say that because there are a lot of people that are very stuck in their ways. They like what they like and they don't like what they don't like. But a lot of times you don't like things that you never did, so you can't technically say that you don't like them. And you know, if your guy comes home and says, babe, I want to go, I don't know, I want to go bowling, and that's not your thing. A lot of women be like, nah, babe, you know, I want to go to the movies instead or something like that. But you have to listen to your man. If this is what your man wants to do and it's not going to put you in any harm's way or any jeopardy, why would you not do that? And I'm sure there are things that he does for you that you probably don't even know that he doesn't like. But then you would get mad if he had somebody else going and doing those things. But what you don't recall is the fact that he asked you first. Next is a man wants a woman that keeps it spicy in the bedroom. That being said, and I'm not telling you guys to go and be as open as I am sexually, but I mean, we experimented with other couples, and I mean, it was me. It was totally me. He didn't even necessarily want to do it. I had to like literally force his hand and force his head, you know? So, you know, I wanted to keep it spicy. I mean, if you're at our house and you're another couple, if you see those black covers come out, and some people will know what I'm talking about. If you see those black covers come out, you're going to get effed. Like, it's going to happen. And I'm not saying my dude's going to do that. Your good dude's going to do that. And nobody leaves until they've gotten their nut. So, that's, you know, that's what we did. That's what we did. And it was spicy, you know, like it was spicy. Like it rubs off, like, whoo, you know, it's a thrill, like, you know. But like I said, that's me. And I probably shouldn't have said it because I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of people judge me for that. But that is what that is. That being said, like I said, you do not have to go and be as out with sexuality as I am. And BTW, since we got married, he's been like, no, you know, there's nobody in our bedroom but us. So he totally put his foot down on that, and I respected it. Like, I literally cried when he first said that. I cried because I was like, you know, I just thought that was so fun, and it just spiced things up so much. And that was one of the things that I was doing, not only because I wanted to, because I did, but to keep it spicy. So, you know, he wouldn't feel the need to go out and do stuff behind my back or anything like that. But he was like, babe, like, there's no messing with females for you. There's no, like, there's nothing. There is nothing. Like I said, I cried because I was like, what do you mean we can't have our sexcapades, you know? But it just really made me fall in love with him even more, because that really touched my heart that he would want his wife to himself. And I respect that. And so even though that was not initially something that I agreed with, I did respect that, because I'm not going to do anything behind my husband's back. I'm not going to share myself with anybody else in any capacity, even with a woman, you know, unless my husband said that was okay. So he said it's not, so I don't. Maybe like trying new things in the bedroom though, you know, maybe trying new things. There are a lot of things that my husband just assumed that I wasn't for. And, you know, like through conversation, I'm like, babe, you know, why don't you do this? Or why don't you let me do that? Blah, blah, blah. And a lot of things have come up, you know, like small things that I wanted, you know, like, babe, you know, I want you to suck on my neck, you know? What else? Oh, well, I can't get into all the details of that, but that's one example for you. And lastly, a woman that is a man's best friend. A woman that's a man's best friend. Because what's the point in being in a relationship if that person is not your best friend? This is the person that you're going to be around more so than your family, than your coworkers, than your homeboys, than your homegirls, anybody. This is the person that you have devoted and decided, committed to be around more than anybody. And why shouldn't you have the most fun with them? Why shouldn't you enjoy them the most? Like, that's initially why you're in a relationship, because you want to share your life with somebody. You want to enjoy somebody, you know? You want to have good times. Nobody gets in a relationship to cry all the time and to be miserable and to fight and to cheat and get cheated on. People don't get in a relationship for that. That being said, why do you think a person's going to stay in a relationship with you when that's what they're getting? They are not. It's not going to last. And like I said, a lot of women play victim when a man leaves, not realizing the fact that they have given you the tools to work that relationship out. One expression after another, one request after another, one suggestion after another, and you failed to listen to that. And now you're like, oh, well, you know, you're messed up because you're leaving me. No, he's not messed up. He's going to get what it is that he needs. That being said, if you're not going to be what a man needs, you cannot be mad at him for going out and getting what it is that he does. Matter of a fact, you should be happy that he left you instead of cheated on you, because that's what the majority of people in general, men and women, will do. They're not happy at home. They don't want to break your heart because they do care about you, but they're not getting all their needs met. So they go creep, do what they do, get what they need, and then come back to the house with a smile on their face. And that's not what you want, you know? All these things being said, I don't even know what the synopsis is, and I don't know what the conclusion is. Other than, I would say, being open. I think that is the biggest thing that I can touch on. Being open when it comes to your mate. Being open, listening to them, understanding them, listening to understand and not to rebut, if that makes sense. So, I'll definitely be making more videos concerning relationships. My next video has definitely got to be about the game and how to play it, because when I did play it, I played it well. And my heart wasn't broken. I wasn't worried about anyone. I was getting all my needs and wants met. I was never alone. I was never bored. I played the game to its capacity. I do believe that I wrote a chapter in the book, actually. So, signing off, Angelica Cartwright. Please stay tuned.